Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, as you know, my name is Extus Justin, and if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within a private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, then come check us out. We'd definitely love to have you. Now, that community was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check us out. Now, today, I want to introduce you to another one of the members of our community, Luannah. Welcome, Luannah.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Awesome. And where are you located?
On Galiano Island in British Columbia, Canada.
Galiano Island. I think that's the first time that word ever came out of my mouth.
Yeah, it's a small island. Yeah, only 900 to 1,000 people live here. Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Have you lived there your entire life?
No, I lived in Ontario originally. That's where I was born and raised. And then when I was 18, I moved to Germany and I lived in Europe for 10 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
And then one night I could feel that I knew that my time there was over. And so I went to a retreat with one of my elders and I said, I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And then in my dreams, I heard move to Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up in the morning and went, Vancouver, forests, oceans, mountains. I could do that. And then I moved here. So I've been in BC now for 20 years.
Yeah.
Came here straight from Berlin, Germany. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That is exciting.
Travel.
Yeah. And what is it that you do?
So I offer generally here at my retreat center, one-on-one coaching. I work predominantly with women who are looking to overcome blocks that were the result of, trauma, low self-esteem, life situations that kind of break us down. So I work with women to help build them back up and give them the tools they need so that they can handle life in a better way, especially for women with trauma, because with trauma, it's a whole different category of healing that needs to happen. It's not just the mind, it's healing in the nervous system and the body, and then also understanding what's happening in the body with trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my deep work. That's what I do. And now because of COVID, of course, the retreats have gone down and I miss what I'm doing. And I also need to source a new income. And so I developed a new coaching program called the Aloha Method. And I'm training with traditional Hawaiian healing. I'm a teacher and a healer initiated by one of my elders in Hawaii. And I have the honor and the blessing to be able to share the beauty that they offer and simplicity but depth with accessible and sustainable tools to live your life in greater ease and to navigate troubles and adversity and challenges with greater ease, because that's where we tend to have a challenge, right? We expect life to be super smooth, and if it's not, we like, what do I do? Mm-hmm. But if we understand that, no, we're a part of nature and nature has adversity and challenges, and that's going to always come into our doorstep at times, but we need the tools to know how to navigate it, and we don't get taught those anywhere. So my whole life I've spent traveling the world, learning different modalities and spending time in different cultures and being touched by all the different wisdoms. And when I found Hawaii, everything that I had learned all fit together in the format of their teachings. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I use the Hawaiian wisdoms as the framework to deliver the deeper teachings. Both I cover from science, metaphysics, psychology, trauma therapy, brain sciences, shamanism, energy work. All of that stuff is integrated through the Hawaiian work that I do. And mm-hmm. these principles that they offer are incredibly empowering and can be utilized by anybody. Anybody put things together in a way that what we already know and can't utilize, we suddenly can utilize. Because that's one of the missing links. Sometimes we have a lot of information, but moments arise and we don't know how to implement it in those moments. So there's a gap, there's a block in our capacity. And so what I teach is help people to bridge that gap and bring all of their wisdom and knowledge together through this format.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, fascinating stuff.
That creates a new environment because everybody already basically knows,
awesome, fascinating stuff.
Right? But we don't always know how to implement in the moment of challenge and stress. And so, I help people to do that better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what about your backstory? Okay. What did you do before?
What about cutting in and out? Hello? I couldn't hear that. Sorry. Hello?
Okay, so what's your backstory? What did you do before you started doing this type of work?
Well, I've been doing massage and healing for 27 years. And one of the things I was trained in Germany is psychotherapeutic body work. So you're working with releasing trauma from the body. So you're already there helping to coach and mentor people to heal trauma, but through the body. And I studied mood therapy. I developed my own form of expressional dance therapy, which I taught for many years in Vancouver. But since I've been on the island, I only do it one-on-one with my clients here now. And I just had my practice for 27 years. I've been working everywhere I've been
Hmm.
doing that. And before that, I worked in the hospitality industry. I did a practicum when I was 18 in Germany in a 5-star hotel in the high service of French service. And that's how I lived. I worked in hotels, and then I would travel, and then hotels and travel all through Europe and Thailand and Turkey and Israel. I've traveled all over the place.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's what I've done before having this retreat center. Yeah.
good, good. And has your vision always been to, before you had the retreat center, has that always been your vision to have a retreat center?
Yes, yes, it has been. Especially something like where I'm located with the background, you can see we're in nature, right? And nature for me is the ultimate healer. Even science has shown just 20 minutes in nature and your nervous system gets recalibrated. And even longer, you start to settle and your body starts to heal. Different systems come into action again that otherwise, because we're in stress mode in the cities, don't, right? So I wanted to have a space where my clients could come and be nourished by these qualities of nature, that they could go deep into whatever healing processes or learning they need to go into to break through to a new insight, to a new strength or a new awareness, and be nourished without having to, okay, I've got to walk down the stairs and go and catch a bus,
Hmm.
or okay, now I've got to go drive home. Healing is a different process than just da, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to create an environment where from every angle people are taken care of when
Hmm.
they're here, and then they can expand more, they can relax, they can choose to interface when and if they want, right? They can go into the village if they want, or they can just stay here on our property. It's really beautiful in their suites. And yeah, so I've always wanted to have a retreat center that I could do that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
And then
cool.
it magically all came together 3 years ago, and so
Hmm.
it's quite a miracle. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you say they
Yeah.
magically all came together, what do you mean by magically all came together? Tell us a story.
Yeah, it's quite an amazing story. So I published my first book this year, and it was 3 years ago where I was just dabbling with the idea. And so I had a healing studio down island from where I am right now, a small little commercial space. And after a session, I had brought my computer to dabble a little bit more. And then my client left, and I sat down to work on the computer, and I kept having this feeling, go get a cinnamon bun and a coffee. And I'm like, what? Why am I going to, I'm fine. I like it here. Right. And I'm a bit more of an introvert. I'm not, when I'm comfortable, I know the people I'm with, I can be very extroverted, but otherwise I'm more of a cautious and, just paying attention and looking for where my entry is, where I fit, or, so when I'm doing my book, I like to be alone generally. Right. And so the feeling kept coming, go get a cinnamon bun and a coffee. And so I said, okay, I follow my gut nudges, right? I've always done that. And then I went to this little bakery where they have really yummy cinnamon buns here on the island. And I brought my computer and I sat on the community table. And a little backstory, there's a couple who owned this retreat center before. And I'd heard about it through a mutual friend, but I'd never met them. I just encountered one of them briefly at one point. And
Hmm.
so never see them on the island because they're always here at the retreat center, right? And so it was quite an auspicious thing that they walked in the door of the restaurant and to pick up some food. And behind me, there was an art show on the wall behind me. So they ended up standing right in front of me watching it. And a part of me was like, oh, introduce yourself. I'm like, oh, no, I'm shy. I went, no. I went, okay. And then so I introduced myself. I said, hey, hi, you're Sharon Chittakash, right? We're mutual friends with, and da. And said, oh yeah, we know all about you. I said, yeah, I do retreats here, and, through my studio, and I house people different places, and da. And they said they knew my reputation and everything. And then the owner, Shira, she said, you know that Serenity by the Sea is for sale, right? And I said, no, I didn't know that. And then she said, well, it is, I said, oh, I said, I've never seen it, but I've heard it's beautiful. I said, but right now I don't think it's in the cards for us right now, my husband and I, financially. But I said, maybe in a few years, because we have some investments that are supposed to come good. And said, if that happens, then hey, and it's still available, then that might be a possibility. And then her husband looked at me and said, we might be able to work something out. And I'm like, you guys just met me. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said, we know your reputation. We know your work. We've heard all about you. How about we all have dinner, you and your family, come over one night. And so the dinner happened 2 weeks later, because I was going to Toronto to take care of my mom, and they were going away somewhere. And then so I went home to my husband and I said, I just had this encounter with these people and this is what they offer. And he's like, wow. I said, let's look it up online. We looked at it, we're like, oh my gosh. And he said, okay, make sure you tell them, yes, we'll come. We don't know how we're going to do it, but let's just look and see, right? See what the possibilities are. And so the day before that evening of having our dinner with them, we decided to drive down just to have from a distance a look at the property, and our hearts just, wow, it was just like blown away, more beautiful than the website. And I went to sit on the waterfront, and my husband and son went to walk around, and I was sitting there and I felt like my whole body had just suddenly exhaled after 45, 46 years of just pushing forward, recovering from trauma and healing and learning and growing, and my whole body just dropped with rest. And I went, oh my God. And I said, okay, life, God, spirit, if there's any way this is possible, please make it so. Help it to come to be. And I had a few little tears of just like feeling that peacefulness that it brought me sitting there. And then I went and I met my son and my husband. And then my son picked up a piece of arbutus bark, and he ripped it in 3 pieces, and he said, let's write our little message to the nature spirits, so they might help us get the property. We'd like this to be our home. And so we did that with his imagination. He was 7 years old at the time. It was really sweet. And then we put it down in 3 different places. So next day we met them, and we hit it off so remarkably. And we didn't know it then, but the owner, Shira, she had already decided she wanted us to be the new owners, and she wanted to find a way. So that night we're like, oh, thank you so much. It's a bit too much out of our pocket right now, but oh, it's a beautiful place. And we're about to leave. And her husband grabbed my husband's shoulder and says, hey, you're already the impossible that's become possible. Let's see what we can do to work this out. And we're like, wow, right? And so in the end, it all magically came together. They lowered the price for the deposit, and they offered to mortgage us themselves so we could do it. And so it's just magical that we're here. Yeah, it's like one of these stories that, you know, they could have gotten money right away, you know, from a seller, from a buyer, but they said, no, we'll direct mortgage you. And so that's been 3 years, and we're building the business and working here, and still very close with the owners. And although she passed just a few months ago, but we're still very close with her husband. And it's just magical. It's like, it's something that I always wanted to retreat, but I never could have fathomed or imagined that it would come like this, right? So it's like the magic of life. When you have a strong call, and you hold it and you feed it and you nourish it, and you let go of the how it's going to happen, and you just tune into the frequency of what it will feel like. This is what I always did. And then it came about in such a magical way. It's like, it's the power of life in its ineffable way of, you know, magnetism, law of attraction, however way. But yeah, we feel blessed every day to be here. It's a waterfront property, 5-story building built up a cliff with a creek running through it, turns into a waterfall in the wintertime. And yeah, so my clients, when they're here, they have incredible experiences. Exactly what I'd always wanted and wished for. And I actually found a note that I had written 13 years ago describing exactly what kind of a place I wanted. I wanted it on the water, but I wanted it in the forest, and I wanted a creek, and I wanted a wood house. And those were the things, the descriptives that I had written down 13 years ago. And so it was pretty, yeah, that's why it's magical. It's so many, you know, things happened behind the scenes that had nothing to do with me taking any action, but just holding the dream. And letting it come in its own time, right? So yeah, there's the magic story of the retreat center.
Yeah. Awesome. And I love how you remember all the details of it as well. So, and especially the beginning part. Um,
Yeah,
the something told you, hey, go get a cinnamon and something, and there's a voice there.
yeah, yeah,
But you follow that voice, and it was that little, almost a spark that kind of triggered everything. And
yeah. 'Cause
imagine if you didn't get that cinnamon, right?
exactly. And the thing is, they were only in for like 4 minutes to pick up food and going out,
Mm-hmm.
right? That they were just, or they would have just been, in and out. So if I would have procrastinated, went and kept going, no, no, I don't need it for another 5 minutes, then I would have missed them. So that's what I mean, the magic of that moment. And they never come down island either,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's a very, very rare thing to see them down island.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, there's just so many layers of magic. So I always say I will always bow down to the cinnamon bun and the coffee because that's what I'm always grateful to cinnamon buns and coffee, because that's what made all this happen. That was the beginning, right?
Yes, yes. I
And the
thought,
fact that I had the idea to write a book, right? So all of
yeah,
that, yeah.
yeah. I thought you'd say you actually have you'd show me the cinnamon while you said, I actually have the cinnamon framed. That's the cinnamon that started it all.
Yeah, yeah, that would be good, but I ate it. But I've learned to make cinnamon buns since then. I now make my
Nice.
own cinnamon buns, so there I honor it that way.
Yeah, love it, love it. So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I guess from your perspective on how you see things, how you see the world, are you a person who just focuses on like the end result, of you know, just decide on what you want, and end result, and then letting whatever things align to get you there? How do you see things from your perspective?
I just see myself. I live in the moment. I live in the now, right? And I tune into what feels strong for me. There's always many seeds and ideas, right? But there's
Hmm.
only so many of them that actually also feed me too. So when I think of it, then I get an energy charge too. And that's how I discern when something is, you know, um, in alignment with me and my soul, and what I can do and create in the world.
Hmm.
So I don't, yeah, focusing on I don't even focus on the end result. I don't think. I'm just here, and I'm meeting the moments as they reveal, and always learning, always being open to um, see new things, understand new things, try new things, showing up to the moment. Like my book is called Resilience, Grace, and the Art of Showing Up. So for me, I think what brought me to where I am in particular is just showing up, even if I was feeling, really depressed one day, but there was an opportunity to go do da 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 da. I would get up and I would go, because I used to have depression because of the traumas that I had. It would, really tear me down sometimes. And I know a lot of people can relate to that. And it's a confusing space to be if you don't understand it. So I healed myself by learning and understanding it and doing a lot of different techniques to get through that, so that I can, be the constants of my own joy, which is my true nature, right? So
Yeah.
we get our true nature can get interrupted by different things. And so for me, it's just being in the now, tuning into also my body awareness that can inform me as well of a direction, like that voice, right? Or a feeling. And like this method that I just developed, the Aloha method, right? The title came to me when I was washing my face in the morning, and I went, oh,
Mhm.
that's it, because I was been looking for what to call the program. And then I was washing my face in the morning, and then I heard it, and then I went, that's it. And then I immediately trademarked it, right? I
Mhm.
immediately registered it. And then I found a graphic designer who I knew many years ago, and immediately she designed the logo. So it was like this flow just took place. So I think it's like a wave surfing. It's like learning how do I catch the good waves, like the big waves of my soul expression, or the gifts that I have to give when I'm given an insight on how to do it and how to get there,
Mhm.
right? And so how do we do that? We do have to heal, because we all have a bunch of stuff that blocks our intuition. We don't feel enough, or we have low self-esteem, or we're depressed, or we have trauma or bad relationships. So there's like all this static that often blocks that voice or that inner sense. And so I help people to turn off that static, clear the
Mhm.
static, so they can actually hear their embodied voice and their authentic knowing of where do I go? What do I do in this minute, in this moment?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so
Awesome.
that's
Yeah.
more how my focus is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's some
yeah.
awesome stuff. And who'd you say is an ideal client for you?
Anybody, I mean, for sure I work more with right now, right? Because I'm a woman and I can relate to the women's challenges, right? I do work with some men, but my ideal client is someone who's really engaged and ready and wanting to just break through. They can feel that force of something coming through, but somehow it's not getting through, and they want to commit their whole energy to change, which means, you know, we have to recognize, oh, this pattern isn't serving me anymore, or this belief, I have to let go of this because it's in my way, or oh, I thought I knew this, but oh, okay, I need to change my knowing a little bit. So there has to be, you know, a willingness to go beyond the person you are to become the person you can be, basically. And
Hmm.
that's often a threshold that blocks us at different times.
Yeah.
So my ideal client is people that they're at that threshold and they're ready, and they can see that, you know, there's something not yet engaging the full flow
Hmm.
of their capacity and of their joy, because really it's all our birthrights to be happy and thrive. We're like nature, you know, every orchid is here to grow into the orchid, every mango tree to the mango tree, and all that genetic imprint is there. It's
Right.
just a matter of how do we create the nourishing environment so that all of that can be activated, right? And so that it can flow, and so the mango tree can flower and give fruit, right?
Hmm.
So that the orchid can fully flower into its fullest expression, right? And so that's how I understand how we can manifest our reality. Is, you know, the outer is a reflection of the inner. So if my outer world isn't working, that's a clue that there's something in my inner world that's getting caught or stuck in something, and I might not know what it is. But if I take the journey to discover it, then I can unlock that, and then my flow can happen, and then that genetic imprint of me has more chance of coming forward and inspiring me and directing me and guiding me, instead of the voices of fear, the voices of worry, the voices of grief, the voices of I'm not enough, you know. And then, you know, when trauma is involved, it's in the biology, it's in the nervous system. And so I teach my clients how to understand their nervous system and navigate it, so they can actually direct what's happening in them rather than have the nervous system take them over. So
Hmm.
I go into all the biology as well. So I'm both very spiritual and very grounded. I like an integration. You know, we're here on this earth because we're here on this earth to learn and be here. We're not here to escape. Whereas a lot of spiritual practices, they want you to escape, you know, denounce the physical world, denounce money, denounce all of this stuff. But we're here. Then this is a place of exploration and discovery and creation. And we're here with the possibility to create. It's
Hmm.
just a matter of we don't have the tools. And if we don't have the tools, then we can't create. So I offered the tools to help people to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love
And they
that.
work because they worked for me. Yeah.
Good, good. Now, if someone
Right.
wanted to connect you and take that next step with you, what's the best way for them to be able to do so?
They could go to the website, thealohamethod.ca, and then there is a page called Launching Soon, and they could just type in their email address and opt in to be informed and to contact, and then I'll connect with them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. And guys, if you're watching this interview on the live or the replay, the links Luannah just mentioned here, they will be either above or below the video. So you could just click and get connected right to her. Well, hey, Luannah, hey, thank you so much for making the time to be here today and share what it is that you, what you do with myself in the
Thank
community.
you.
Yeah, do you have any
Thank
final
you very
thoughts?
much.
You're welcome. Any final thoughts for the
Um,
end?
no, I would just say, you know, the things we dream of are possible, you know.
Hmm.
I mean, I couldn't have imagined being where I am today. I wanted it, but I had no idea how it would be. And so if you stay focused with your heart and your intention, not just the mind intention, but really with the feeling of what the drive, the passion, then nature supports that. It will grow. It has no other alternative but to grow. if we do everything to feed it and nourish it. So nourishing ourselves and yeah, doing what we need to do, showing up. That's what I would
Awesome.
say is my message. You know, even if people don't contact me, if they can take that bit and have that inspire them, you know, that would be really amazing. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it, love it.
Yeah.
Well, again, hey, thank you so much for making the time to be here. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you
We'll
for
talk
having
soon.
me. Very grateful. Okay.
Awesome. You're welcome. Enjoy, okay?
Okay. Blessings. Thank you.
Thank you.